Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Sandeman Street Podcast, a podcast about Dundee and Dundee United from fans of both clubs. I'm Andrew, and as usual I'm joined by my regular co-host Jack. Jack, how are you today?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm alright. Did you have a good weekend?
I did, mate. It was my birthday this weekend, so I went up to see my family and went surfing. You?
You never mentioned that.
I know.
How old is that now? 29?
29, mate.
You're joined in the year before 30 club like myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it's all downhill for here, is it?
Yep.
As usual, if you're listening as a regular to the podcast, could you give our socials a follow? On Twitter or X, we are at SandemanStPod, and on Instagram, we are at the Sandeman Street Pod. If you're listening on YouTube, could you give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and if you're listening on a phone or an iPad, give our video a hype if you can. Straight into things this week, Jack. We've obviously had a couple of games for United, so we'll start with them. Up and down week, really, but we'll start off with the positives because there's not many from this week from either of our teams. Last Tuesday, a victory in the New Firm derby against Aberdeen. What did you reckon with that?
Yeah, I thought we were up for it. I think we played well. I don't think Aberdeen were up to much. We created quite a few chances and we managed to beat them. Dolchek, I think, scored again, which is great. That's him top goal scorer in the league now. So I think he's been top goal scorer since the start. So that's good that he got another goal. But other goal, the corner, probably the easiest corner goal someone's ever going to score. Don't think any Aberdeen player moved one step from where they were standing when the corner got took. So yeah, it was a good result, mate. Always a banana skin coming up against a team who they've spent a lot of money but have not performed well, and teams that are down that end, you're worried that they could start picking up luckier than ever, and we managed to get the win.
More of that later in terms of them picking up form, but as you touched on, the first goal was a tidy finish from outside the box from Dolchek. The second goal, as you also touched on, I mean, it's Sunday league marking, is it?
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah, it's really poor. The boy Essex becoming a bit of a fan's favourite, isn't he?
Yeah, I really like him. Really solid defender, so I'm happy to have him at the club.
Mm-hmm. And also, I did notice, I've seen bits and pieces of the game from highlights and whatnot, and the boy Sapsford, quite lucky to remain on the pitch. Don't know if you've seen what I'm on about.
I seen the tackle in the box, if that's what you're referring to.
So the booking that he had was he obviously was booked, but I don't know if you noticed, there was an incident in the second half where the Aberdeen goalie was rushing out to take a throw, to throw the ball or to kick up the field, and he's nudged the ball out of his hands, or he's waited for the goalkeeper to release it to kick it, and he's tapped the ball to the side and put it in the empty net. And 9 times out of 10 that's a booking, and the referee seemed to let him off with it. But I mean, it's Stephen McLean for you. I'm absolutely positive for Sapsford's booking that he played advantage for United and then went back and booked Sapsford and gave Aberdeen a free kick. So
Yeah.
make of that what you will.
Well, with that rule, so you're saying that the keeper's had the ball in his hands, and as he's went to kick the ball, Sapsford's knocked it away.
Yeah, so
knocked it
he's
off him.
he's to take a drop kick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll release the ball to kick it whilst it's in the air. Then he dropped threw it on the ground and went to kick it.
But surely that's the keeper's prerogative to be aware of surroundings. You see cases of back in the day, I don't know, maybe a decade or so ago more, a keeper will have the ball in one hand. That's a fair game. The keeper's not in control of that ball. Likewise there, the keeper's dropped the ball to kick it. He's not in control of that ball anymore, so I don't think it should be punished.
I think back in the day, it wouldn't have been punished, and I do agree with what you're saying, because if the goal back in the day, the rule was to have the goalie had to have the ball in 2 hands, or if the ball was in mid-air, it was it was available to be challenged. But I think nowadays it's a bit of a no-no. I think he just got lucky there, the boy Sapsford. But I mean, I'm not coming on here to call for the boy to be sent off. I couldn't really care less, in all honesty. I just thought he was a bit of a lucky boy.
Yeah, well, if the rules are that you can't do it, then you probably should have got a booking, but I'm not aware of the rules, so I can't really say otherwise.
All in all, though, a good result for United. They kept their good start to the season going. Aberdeen, though, they're very, very poor. As you say, they've spent a lot of money to assemble this squad. They've got a boy on the right or left wing who cost £11 million. And I remember saying to a couple of people when they signed him, like, oh, Aberdeen have signed the boy that cost £11 million. And you're thinking, but if he cost £11 million and he was good, he'd still be at the team that paid £11 million for him. Just because somebody's paid £11 million for somebody doesn't make them a good player. So he's here for a reason, if you know what I mean. We're not saying that the boy's absolutely honking, but Aberdeen have got him for a reason, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, he must have something about him that made a team pay £11 million for him, or €11 million. He's obviously not maybe as confident as he was before, and that's why Aberdeen have got him. He's not contributing to the team that he signed for, and so they decided to loan him out, and Aberdeen are the ones that have picked up the tab. But I do think there's a good player there, and you've just got to see if he can get his confidence back and contribute, which doesn't seem like the case so far.
I think that the boy Thielen is on a bit of a sugly. He has to be on a sugly beggar. Obviously, he's going to be a bit of a cult hero for Aberdeen fans forever because he's won them the Scottish Cup, and absolutely fair credit to him. It's not easy to win a cup for a team out with the Old Firm, but their league form has been nothing short of shocking since November last year. And I mean, we'll touch on this later on in our podcast. They're going to get their first win this weekend, but it's not been good enough for a long, long time. And they're away going to European football now, so they're going to have even more games. It could turn into a long season for Aberdeen, even though they have spent all this money. And if you look at their squad player for player, you could argue that they have got a lot of good players within their squad. It could turn into a long season for them. A bit like what happened to United when United went into Europe under Jack Ross and then Liam Fox took over and whatnot.
Yeah, it could be a long season for them. It's going to be increasingly more difficult for them with the European games. I don't know the thinking of the board with regards to Telling, because he's won the Scottish Cup, yes. The league start's not been great. Well, it's been absolutely atrocious, to be fair. Sacking a manager just before you start your European games isn't what you want to do. You don't want to do that. You want the consistency of at least having that coach there. If he loses against Dundee, which obviously we'll discuss later, I think that could be time for him. That's a really poor result. No offence to Dundee, but they're not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, times are tough for Aberdeen at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not here to speak about Aberdeen, but I just find it amazing that a boy could last that long, and if he hadn't won the Scottish Cup, he would have been emptied long before now, I think. But moving back to United, after the positivity of that win against a team that United fans would probably consider to be quite a big rival, they welcomed Kilmarnock to Tannadice on Saturday, and I think it's fair to say that you called it.
Yep, I did indeed. Kerry are kryptonite. We cannot beat Kerry. That's 8 games in a row we've not won. That's 2 draws and 6 losses. I don't know what it is about them, but we just can never ever seem to get a result against them. I'd be interested to see what our history was like over the last 10 years against Kerry, because for the last 3 it's been really poor. I didn't see the game, I've seen the highlights. We seemed to create a couple of chances, but defensively it didn't seem good enough. They scored from a set piece again. Sapsford's missed a penalty. It just seems like against Kelly, everything goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen the highlights of this one, so you're going to have to help me go through the game in a bit of a chronological order, but I have been told by a couple of people who were at the match that it was just one of those days type thing.
Yeah, quite quickly, I think it was only 20 minutes or something, Anderson manages to hit a shot between Careste's legs and puts in the bottom corner. That's a good finish. Keeper can't get there. He's miles off it, to be fair. And it's a good goal. United then have a couple of opportunities. Nothing gives. But then there's a corner, short pass corner, whips into the box, and Robbie D's heads it. Looks like Kucherenko manages to claw it off a line. Referee ends up giving the goal. So that's 2-0. United then go up the other end. Stevenson gets brought down in the box. Penalty for United. Sapsford hits it with his right foot. Bottom corner, not quite out far enough. Keeper dives the right way. Solid touch of the ball and puts out for a corner for United. I think the people you spoke to are right. It was just one of them days where nothing was falling for you. And you've just got to accept it and move on.
Yeah, it doesn't make it any less frustrating. And there's I mean, everybody's got one of those teams that they just seem to have that kind of. It's just a strange kind of thing over you. I can't even put into words what it is. It's just you just know that you're not getting a result against that team, and even when you do, it's scrappy. Like you'll never seem to really have a comfortable win against them, and your wins are few and far between. I was for a while was Motherwell. We've had that kind of thing against St Mirren. And years ago in the First Division, it was teams like Queen of the South, Airdrie, Clyde, Aberdeen for a long, long time has been ours. In the last decade or so, it's just. I mean, you could obviously include Celtic and Rangers in them, but I think they're a bit different considering that they're not really on a level playing field with clubs like ours. But yeah, it's dead frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Because you know your team's good enough to beat them. It's just that nothing ever comes off for you. And in that game there, I looked at the stats. I know it's not a great stat. It's got its controversies, but our XG was basically 2.5 goals. And to not score one, you just know that it's just not happening for you that day.
I think one of the frustrating things I always found about when you've got teams like Killie and whatever, and they'll maybe have a bit of a hoodoo over United. Up until obviously last season, Dundee hadn't won at Tannadice for a long time, and you would see teams like Killie, you would see teams. I mean, I'm not saying that Dundee are better than Killie this season, but in years gone by, there'd be teams who Dundee would be better than, and they'd go to Tannadice and get result, maybe on more than one occasion, and then Dundee would go to Tannadice and either couldn't beat United or they'd get their arses handed to them. And I was always found it dead frustrating, but I think you've probably come to realise as I've gotten older that when Dundee go to Tannadice and when Kilmarnock go to Tannadice, it's two completely different games of football, isn't it?
Yes.
The crowd, for a start, is a few thousand increased. The atmosphere is completely different. The game obviously reflects the atmosphere in the stands. It's 100 miles an hour, so yeah, I mean, it's obviously a completely different thing, but having seen Kilmarnock myself, they've obviously played United twice now this season, once in the League Cup and once in the League, two wins for Kilmarnock. I've seen Kilmarnock against Dundee, and there wasn't anything special.
That's what I'm saying. It's our kryptonite. There's nothing special, like you say. Got a couple of good players. Like I say, David Watson, I really rate highly. But
he's a wee knob end as well, though, that David Watson.
But he's a good player, mate. But that's no reason for Kerry to be able to beat us the way they do. We can't seem to touch them when it comes to playing against them. Other teams were able to put up a fight and go for it against Kerry, we just have nothing. And it's really frustrating, but that's football.
Yeah, it's definitely football. Um, and just before we close off on the United kind of reactions to the previous couple of matches, you did touch on it, but Sapsford obviously misses his penalty, and that's just confirms to everything that you already knew about. It just wasn't going to be your day.
Yeah, penalties, you're expecting to score 9 out of 10 of them.
What like, was it a save? Was it a miss? Like, what was the penalty like?
Yeah, like I say, he saved it. The keeper saved it. He gets a really strong hand to it. He just pushes it out for a corner. It's not a great penalty by any stretch of the imagination. He hits it low. I don't think he hits it particularly hard enough. It's not right in the corner, but the keeper gets there. Keeper gets the right way. Keeper doesn't go the right way. It's a goal. Unfortunately, he does, and yeah, it's just not your day. It's just you just know it's not your day, and it's a real confidence kicker for Satsford because he's been really good this season, and I'm just hoping that doesn't eat into him too much.
There's no chance that that's knocking his confidence.
Yeah.
He seems like a confident lad. He's been here all of 5 minutes and he's already celebrating in front of Dundee supporters and derby matches and stuff. I wouldn't worry too much about his confidence.
I'll try not to.
I think you were also graced. If you've only watched the highlights, you'll not have a massive flavour of this. But from speaking to at least one person who was at the match, you were graced with the presence of Mr. Ross Hardy as the referee. Good luck with all the United supporters that had to pop with that fucking garbage. He's in the worst. I don't think he had anything massively spectacularly wrong, but from what I've heard, he apparently let the boy Dackers, the striker for Kilmarnock, away with absolute murder for far too long, which is very similar to when we played against them. So, yeah, we'll not dwell on that. We'll move on to Dundee's match at the weekend. I was through Paisley for it. It's a very dull affair, to be honest with you. There wasn't very much in it. I wouldn't go as far as saying it could go either way because I don't think Dundee created enough to win the match. I think if they had maybe snuck a draw, if they maybe got a draw, you couldn't probably argue with that if you were Dundee or if you were St Mirren. I was actually quite disappointed in St Mirren, to be honest with you. I thought they would have been a lot better than what they were. But I suppose they didn't have to be very good to win the match. Not very much creativity from Dundee. Did you see any of the game at all on Sportscene or anything like that?
Yeah, I've seen the highlights. Dundee didn't look up to much. On the highlights, I think Dundee maybe had one chance, maybe two. And they were both long range strikes. Nothing created really. St Mirren on the highlights seemed to have a few chances. Not clear-cut chances, nothing gilt-edged, but chances down the left. St Mirren are always a tough team to play against, especially with Robinson in charge. If you're saying it's a dull affair and there wasn't much in it, then I'll take your word for it. But a draw would have been a good result. Obviously, you've not got that, so it's another tough week for Dundee, I think.
I would be interested to know what highlights of going forward there was on the for Dundee.
There was a
Because from what I could remember, they had virtually nothing other than maybe a couple of long range shots from Ethan Hamilton.
Yeah, they had a shot. I think it might have been Dre Wright. Dre Wright had a shot, and
that was in the first half. Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Shamal George saved it, and it goes out. And then the second one was another long range shot, and I think I can't remember what happened with that one, but I obviously never went in. Yeah, there was nothing creative at all about any of the chances.
No, I mean their goal. It was good kind of instincts from the boy Phillips, and I think in that boy Phillips, the SPFL Premiership has found their latest pantomime villain. He's a bit of a knob end to him. You could see that within his celebration. And I think he's very excitable, to say the least, from various other clips I've seen of him. We were actually linked with him a couple of years ago when Tony Docherty first came in. I think he went someplace down south, and then in the summer he ended up in the January transfer window. He ended up at Aberdeen. I think he was very great for them, and then he ended up at St Mirren. Quite surprised he's still at St Mirren, to be honest. I rate him quite highly. He's quite a good player. Even though he does wear his shin guards on his ankles, which bothers the life out of me, but that's a completely different talking point. But he took his goal well. St Mirren, Dundee started the game quite well, probably the better team for the first 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and then St Mirren from then on till half time were the team who were going forward more than they weren't, shall we say. The second half was very, very dull. Not much to talk about. A couple of long-range Dundee shots, 2 or 3 crosses, and the game was absolutely crying out for width, crying out for a bit of creativity. Now, I think last week, I discussed when Dundee were subbing off Murray, subbing off Congreve, etc. The players who were coming on to replace them weren't producing the same level of creativity. The creativity levels drop significantly when these players are going off. The bench isn't as strong as the starting 11 when it comes to this sort of thing. And on Saturday, I thought that flipped a wee bit based on what he played in formation. So he had Charlie Riley on the bench, who came on in the 90th minute last week and still won a penalty. He had Tony Ugan on the bench. He had Callum Jones on the bench. Unfortunately, Murray was ill, so he didn't even start, and Ashe came in for him. And I thought when Ashe played at Ibrox, he played away okay. He was winning. He won a few flick-ons. He was taking the ball in, but on Saturday he was totally bullied by the boy Gogic, who, I don't know what you think about him, Jack, but I would take him at Dens in a heartbeat. He is one of the masters at the dark arts of football, isn't he? He's just a complete and utter genius when it comes to that sort of stuff, and I would love to have him at Dens. But anyway, Ashe wasn't great. He brings on Aqua, and it was the first subby, and it just baffled me how long he waited to bring on fresh legs, to bring on new ideas to the pitch. And you seen it when Tony Ugan came on. I think it was about the 80th minute he came on as a subby, and it was just far too late. It was probably at least 20 minutes too late, and he had the ball maybe 4 or 5 times within that time period that he had on the pitch, and he was dribbling past St Mirren's right back for fun. And although Tony Ugan's problem is, and this will come with experience, that he's a young man. His final ball lets him down. He does probably the hardest part in football, which is getting the ball, dribbling past a man. He's full of skill. He's full of pace. But his final ball lets him down. Now, when he grows into himself and into his career, he'll gain that composure, and he'll find his final ball probably, and he'll probably end up having quite a good career. Probably in England, but at the moment his final ball's not there. But at least he was looking likely, and it just wasn't happening before then. I just couldn't believe how long he waited to make subs, and even then he didn't bring on Charlie Riley at all. The one that baffled me the most was that he takes Ashe off and brings on Aqua, and that was it. Like for like, it didn't change anything. And St Mirren seen out their victory fairly comfortably. One thing I would say is, and this backs up my point that I made a few weeks ago, and then the week after, and whatever, and you're going to roll your eyes and shake your head and probably laugh. We had Matthew McDermott as the ref, right? In the first half, there was a injury for a Dundee player, right? Now, probably 2 or 3 minutes, the game stopped, adds 1 minute added time, right? No long enough. Second half, There is a St Mirren player that needs treatment. There's all these different subbies. He adds 4 minutes. At least 6 should be added, and he blew early. So I'm going to continue with my campaign for stop in the clock during football matches, but that's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, we'll move on to the results on the rest of the Premiership card. A bit of a surprising one, Jack, at Celtic Park on Saturday. Celtic 0, Hibs 0.
Yeah, both teams have had funny seasons so far with them. Celtic aren't looking up to their normal selves. Hibs aren't looking like what they did at the end of last season in Europe this year. They're both teams that are really seem to struggle this season so far. So it's hard to say Celtic are struggling. They're second in the league. They've not lost a game yet. But they don't seem as dominant as they did before. And Hibs, they're losing games they should be drawing. They're drawing games they should be winning. It's really strange times for both of them clubs just now. Obviously, United benefit from that, and that Hibs are our closest competitors, I would say, in terms of ability, squad-wise. But yeah, it is a strange result, and I think it has been a really strange season so far in general.
I think Hibs, obviously, they've had a slow start. Compared to the way that they finished last season, they've had a slow start. They obviously had a lot of European games in the summer and then into the beginning of the season to contend with. I think they'll probably come good. I would imagine that maybe after the international break, they'll start to kick on. You'll probably see the best of Hibs after the turn of the year. They've got far too good a squad, in my opinion, to not have a good season. It's kind of hard to judge because you're judging them based on what they did last year. I don't think it's... What's the word I'm looking for? I don't think it's fair to expect that level of consistency from a non-Old Firm team season on season on season. I think they'll comfortably finish in the top 6. They'll probably get a European place again, and then they could maybe build on that again. I think the problem for Hibs and clubs around about the size of Hibs, your Aberdeens, your Hearts, is that they need to keep a hold of their best players for longer. So like boys like Bowie normally would come through, well, not come through at Hibs, he's signed from, he was at Wraith and then Fulham. He'll come up to Hibs from Fulham, he'll have 2 or 3 seasons at Hibs doing well and then go down south or go abroad. If they can keep him for a 4th, a 5th, a 6th season and he's still repeating the form that he has been in these 1st and 2nd seasons, then Hibs can then begin to kick on, to maybe get closer to Celtic and Rangers. But well, no, I don't suppose. A good result for them on Saturday, though. I mean, I think they went to Celtic and they were a bit more conservative. They played a bit more of a low block and they got a point, so you can't argue with that. Moving on to the next game, obviously it was the United and a 2-0 defeat to Kilmarnock at Tannadice. Hearts with a 3-0 victory against Falkirk, Jack. Now, Hearts are obviously a good team. They've started the season very well. They're currently sitting top of the league. It's just another difficult game in Falkirk's difficult start to the Premiership season. But obviously, it's a hard place to go, Tynecastle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really hard place to go. The fans are right on top of you there, so there is always a lot of pressure playing at Tynecastle. And Hearts have had a good season so far. Tony Bloom's investment money is doing its job, so they could have a good season this year. I don't think they're going to win it. I think Celtic will pick up their form soon, but they're going about it the right way just now.
No, I don't think Hearts are going to win the league either. But I'm definitely interested to see how well they can do and how long they can keep up this position in the league table. Obviously, they're top of the league just now. They've not played Celtic yet. They played oh yeah, the one at Ibrox. Rangers, we'll touch on them in a minute, but they're obviously not started the season very well whatsoever. I think it all depends on how long the boy Martin stays there, because if Martin stays there any longer than another month or two, you could well see that the Hearts maybe increasing their gap between them and Rangers, and then even if Rangers do sack Martin and bring in somebody else and they do pick up, it could be a case of that the Hearts have put themselves too far ahead to be caught. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they could split them. But I think it would be welcome to Scottish football to have a bit of a change in what's going on. But yeah, the last game from the weekend was the Saturday evening game at Fir Park, where Motherwell won 2-0 against Aberdeen. Jack, please tell me you've seen the first goal that Motherwell scored.
Yeah, I did. It's horrendous goalkeeping from the goal.
It's one of the ones where it's years ago it would have been put on a VHS or a DVD, like a bloopers kind of reel. It was just I don't know what he's doing. It looks like if you watch it first time, you would have thought it would have took a deflection, but then you see it again, he's like dived past it.
Yeah, I think he's tried to preempt the strike. I think he's went to go in the corner. The keepers thought that the Motherwell striker's going to hit it in the corner, so he's preempted that, moving that way. Instead, he hits it straight at the middle of the goal, and he's already dived past it. And he tries to stick his hand out, makes contact, but it just rolls right through his arm, and it's heartbreak for Aberdeen.
Absolutely terrible, the goalkeeping, but it gives you a laugh. And the last but least, the game of the weekend on Sunday was Livingston 1, Rangers 2. A very, very, very late winner from Rangers, with Max Aaron scoring an injury time for a 2-1 win. Now, if you're a Dundee supporter and you haven't seen the game, hold on to your seat, because you're going to fall off it. Mo Silla scored for Livingston. Now, if you'd thought that I'm lying, go and check it. He scored the header. Now, when he played for Dundee, you thought that the only way he was ever going to score a goal from midfield was if he cleared it into the goal. But he did score a header to bring Livingston level at the time. A first half goal from Tavernier, who also missed a penalty. But that keeps Rangers, that brung Rangers out of the relegation playoff spot, Jack.
That's crazy. That is mental.
I know.
6 games in and they're fighting relegation. Christ.
Okay. Livingston actually put in their tweet, it was like, full time here, Almond Vale, Rangers leave the relegation playoff zone and move up the table, or something like that. So, a bit of a dig for Livy. Another thing I wanted to cover, because we did it the last time, was the Scottish Cup first round was on Saturday, and we will cover the local teams to us, so the local junior teams who were in action. There was a win for Tayport, who won 3-2 away to Coldstream. They have drawn Dumbarton away in the next round. That's a great draw for them, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, really good draw. Quite a big team compared to them, so that'll be a good occasion for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're obviously going to be massive underdogs going into that, but it's a great tie. Obviously, they probably would have preferred it at home. I'm sure the club treasurer or the club accountant or whatever would have probably preferred a team with a bit of a bigger stadium and bigger average attendances, but no, that'll be a great day for them, and good luck to them there. There's obviously three local junior teams from the Midlands League that can enter the Scottish. Lochie United were one of them, and they are probably the hardest tie of the three. They were at home to Brecon City and lost 3-1. A respectable scoreline, Jack.
Yeah, it is. It's always going to be hard playing against a team that are at the top end of the Highland League, or the Lowland League. I'm not sure what league they're in just now, but
Highland League.
The Highland League, yeah. They're still a good team. Historically, they've been in the upper leagues, League One, League Two, for donkey's years. So it's always going to be a difficult game. To score a goal, it's always nice. It's always good for the home set of supporters, but it's always a tough challenge for them.
Yeah, it's a difficult game, but they done themselves proud. Obviously, it's not what the result that they wanted, but they could have been on the end of it doing Grady McGrath scoring about 40 goals, but they kept it respectable and unfortunately went out the cup. The last result for the local teams was Strathspey Thistle, said it properly this time, 1, Dundee North End 2 after extra time. North End have a tie away to Tranent. Now, they actually played Tranent last season, but that was at home, and I'm sure they won 4-0. So, another tie against Tranent. Tranent will be obviously looking for revenge this time. But a good result for North End, Jack. I bet you didn't know. Well, I say this. I think you might know this. You're probably one of the only people I know who probably would know this.
Right.
Do you know who Strathspey Thistle's manager is?
Kevin Thompson.
No.
No, I don't know that.
I didn't think he would go down that route. No, it's Ryan Essen.
Oh, okay.
Ryan
Yeah.
Essen. And do you know who a player coach is?
No.
Aaron Dorn.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He's probably injured right enough, but he is a
Yeah.
player coach, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I mean, great result for North End, gets them through. If they can get past Shanent and then obviously get into the third round, they could maybe get themselves another tie like Airdrie when they ran them close last season. So good luck to them and good luck to Tayport in the next round. But we'll move on to the next thing that we're wanting to talk about, and that is looking forward to the weekend's fixtures. Now, Jack, United take on Livingston at Tannadice on Saturday afternoon. What are you thinking about that? Obviously, you're wanting to bounce back after the Kilmarnock defeat.
Yeah, you want to bounce back. Livy, I've always historically, I would say, in the last few years, been a very physical side. David Martindale's a really good coach. I really like him as a coach. They've got a couple of good players. I really like the goalie, Jerome Pryor. I think there's quite a lot of interest in him in the summer.
He had a couple of absolute worldy saves yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I really rate him. He's I think they turned down a large offer for him in the summer, so and then they signed him on a new deal as well, which is a great piece of business from them. They've also got a couple of boys. They've got a boy on loan from Man City who made his full debut yesterday for them. Could be a good player, especially if he comes from Man City's academy. So they've got a couple of players that could be.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jack. Is that the boy? Is it Soho or something?
Yeah, like Sonoho or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've signed him on Football Manager. That's
Did you?
He is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's maybe quite highly rated, I believe. Transfermarkt's got a value of about £1 million worth, so he's obviously meant to be a pretty good player. Up front, I'm not worried about them. They've got Stevie May up top, who's about 35 and has not got any legs left. And Zach Rowland's on the bench, who historically. He's not, no?
He's not there now.
Oh,
that was one of the strangest transfers of the summer. So he obviously signed from Queen's Park along with Cammy Kerr at the beginning of the transfer window. He then went to Dunfermline for like $100,000.
Oh, right.
And Cammy Kerr's yet to play for them because he's injured.
All right, fair enough.
So strange one.
Yeah, I'm still not worried about them attacking wise. Even less so now. I think we've got Younger up top, who was quite a good player. He had a bit of interest in him last season, but he only came off the bench against Rangers yesterday or on Saturday. So I'm not worried about him. I think, obviously, I'm expecting a win, I'm, as you know, Andy, I'm quite a glass half empty kind of guy, and I think a draw is probably going to be the result, but a win's expected. But I guess we'll have to see.
Other boy that came on against us when they were 2-0 down, and he scored a penalty, and to be honest with you, he was a bit of a handful. I'm sure his name was like Bokila or something. And if you look into his career, he's played at a decent level. I think he's like 34 or 35, but he's played at a pretty decent level for the entirety of his career. So uh, he's one to look out for. Probably come on as more of an impact player at the age that he's at. They've also got Stevie May, as you said. They've got the boy that plays wide. It's not Winter.
Yeah, Winter.
He's one of their best. But it's not him I'm thinking of. He plays wide right. I think it's something Smith, Lewis Smith. I think it's Lewis Smith that they have, and he's quite dangerous. He's the one that missed the one. You know when we played them last week and we were speaking about it, they had the chance at the very last minute, and then we went up the park and scored.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was the boy Smith that had that chance.
Mm.
Who else have they got? Conor McLennan, Graham Carey,
Pittman.
I'm just actually got them. So it's the boys Jeremy Bokila. He's 36. They signed him in the summer from Willem 2. Is that how you pronounce it? They're the Dutch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Willem 2. He's also played for teams like Oakland Roots in the US, Hatayspor, Dynamo Bucharest, Cluj, Guangzhou City, Ezekspor, Akhmat Grozny, Petrol. I think is that another team that Hearts played last season.
Romanian club. Yeah.
Sparta Rotterdam. So he's played decent level of football his entire career. He is a bit of a handful, but they've got him. I'm just running through their team from the weekend, and we'll see how we can see.
Mo Salah.
Mo Salah, yeah. So the team of the weekend was Pryor, Finlayson, Silla, Danny Wilson, Montgomery, Sissoko, Tate, Smith, Pittman, Winter, and May. It's the boy Lewis Smith that I'm thinking of. He's quite good for them. And their bench was Blaney, Bokila, Carey, McLennan, Muirhead, Robbie Muirhead actually, Robinson, Shinney, and Yenge. So look out for Robbie Muirhead, Jack. Come back to haunt you.
Yeah, I know. God, imagine hat trick been coming.
It's amazing to think how long ago it was that he was at United.
I know, that was the relegation season, I think. So that would have been 2014, 10 years ago.
Was he not part of the deal that ended up? Obviously, I wasn't directly involved, but United wouldn't release Mackay, Steven, and Armstrong until they signed him for Kilmarnock.
Maybe. I think we paid 150 grand for the boy as well.
Yeah. Because remember, he left United and went to Hearts, did he know? And he was at Hearts for a while, and then he ended up down south, and then he was back up the road, but he's played loads and loads of seasons for Morton.
Yeah. Yeah. He never had the career that we expected him to have.
No, but he's got loads of ability. He's got some left foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just doesn't have the rest of the game, I don't think.
No. I might be
I say that, he's going to come back and bite you in the backside. But
So, are you thinking a win on Saturday?
I'm expecting a win. I'm thinking a draw.
Okay. So that's your glass half full then, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Dundee in action on Sunday afternoon at Pittodrie against Aberdeen. Now, we did touch on this a few times earlier on. Dundee and Aberdeen. If you think United's record against Kilmarnock's bad, then check out Dundee's record against Aberdeen, because it is nothing short of embarrassing. I think if you looked at our results from maybe 2012 onwards against Aberdeen, I think we've beaten them three times, something like that. 3 times in probably about 40 odd games. So It's really not good. Last season, we played them when they started the season well and they were on their run and they come to Dens and won 2-1, I think. And then we played them at Pittodrie, and I'm pretty sure the game at Pittodrie, well, yeah, it was the last game they won in their good start to the season. They didn't win a game from that game at Pittodrie until they came to Dens. And the one at Dens, I think it was about something like 15 games or something like that. They didn't win. So I'm not expecting too much from the weekend. Aberdeen will get their first goal, their first win of the season, and they'll probably kick on from there. But from someone looking from the outside, what do you reckon?
I'd love it. This is going to sound bad. I'd love Aberdeen got beat again. I just think it'd be so funny. Obviously, I never want Dundee to win a game, but if they're going to win a game, I want them to win that one. I just think it would be typical for Aberdeen to lose that game. If they do win the game, which I think you and I both are expecting to happen, Aberdeen, then they could kick on and end up having a decent season, which I don't want as a United fan. Dundee, Simon Murray's out ill this week. I don't know if he'll be back in time for that game. Obviously, a real threat up top. And defensively, Dundee aren't the strongest, so Aberdeen could have a few chances. I think it'll be a closer game than you expect, considering your history with them. It'll be interesting to see what the outcome will be in the end.
This was like a well gone over conversation between me and a lot of people who I know. Basically, I'll tell anyone who'll listen. But I had never seen Dundee win at any of the 5 big grounds in Scotland. So I'd never seen them win at Parkhead, Ibrox, Tynecastle, Easter Road and Pittodrie until last season. I seen them win at Tynecastle last season. But I've been in Pittodrie, I think it's from Futbology, I'm pretty sure it's like 18 times or something like that. And I think I've seen Dundee draw there about 3 times and they've lost every other time. So, not a happy hunting ground for me. I wouldn't be surprised though if they maybe got a score draw on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But I just think that the stars have aligned again for Aberdeen to do what they do and get themselves out of a rut by giving us a bit of a doing. It just seems to be what happens. But they're not great, are they?
They really aren't.
And I think I would find it absolutely hysterical if they got relegated.
Yeah, because they're always going about being one of only 2 clubs that have never been relegated from the top flight. So it'd be good to shove it up them.
I seen a boy tweeting, it was either last night or this morning. I read it this morning, and he said something along the lines of, we've got 2 games this week against Dundee and against Shakhtar Donetsk. He goes, one game is in a place reminiscent of the 1940s war zone, but we really need to concentrate on the Shakhtar game. Coming from an Aberdeen support, right? Because Aberdeen's like the Scottish Beverly Hills, is it?
It is the most miserable city in the UK by a mile. Just gloomy, grey everywhere.
It's just freezing all the time.
Yeah. It's just
absolutely freezing.
Such a boring place to live, mate. They've got Cordonas, that's about it.
Have they even got that anymore?
I don't even know, mate.
It's been a while since I've been in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that it's going to be one of those occasions where we'll just give them their first win of the season. But I don't know. It's just the life of a Dundee supporter, isn't it? Anyway, we'll move on to the Futbology Challenge, as always, the last instalment of the podcast. Martin, I was waiting for him to get back in touch with me today, but he has text, so we've got his game and we've got my game. Life comes at you fast, Jack. It was only last week where we were speaking and you were asking us how we got on, and I was saying to you that Dundee had won, obviously, their first league game of the season. Liverpool had won the Merseyside derby. The 49ers won number 3-0 in the NFL. The Futbology Challenge was off the mark. Well, this week, roles reverse.
Yes.
So, Dundee got beat. Liverpool got beat in injury time. The 49ers absolutely shat themselves and got beat. And I got another loss in the Futbology Challenge. So, as always, the results and the league table are on screen now if you're listening on YouTube. Jack picked up a forfeit yet again, so
surprise.
Waiting. So we're still waiting on Jack to get off the mark. Be a long wait.
One day, mate. One day.
It'll be a long wait. My game was from, actually, me and Martin's games were both from the same day, the 29th of September 2012. Mine was a 3-1 defeat at home to St Johnstone, so every man in Perth had an exciting day that day. The teams, though, the managers that day were Barry Smith and Steve Lomas, and he was an attendance of 6,158. Starting lineup for Dundee: Rab Douglas, Gary Irvin, Matt Lockwood, Lewis Toshney, Ryan Conroy, Ian Davidson, Mark Kerr, Jim McAllister, John Baird, Martin Boyle and Colin Nish. On the bench, Alex Baird, Kyle Benedictus, Brian Easton, Declan Gallagher, Kevin McBride, Nicky Riley and Stephen Milne. For St Johnstone, Alan Mannis, Dave Mackay, Fraser Wright, Stephen Anderson, Gary Miller, Patrick Craig, Chris Miller, Gregory Taddy, Liam Craig, Murray Davidson and Stephen McLean. And the bench was Jonathan Tuffy, David McCracken, Liam Caddis, Chris Tobin, Craig Beattie, Nigel Hasselbank and Chris Kane. The goal scorers were Taddy on 16, Conroy 22, Craig 27 and McLean 52. Not too much memory of this game, to be honest with you, Jack. I do remember that the penalty that Dundee received was for a bit of a high kick on Martin Boyle. Ryan Conroy done the honours, as he always did in a Dundee jersey. I don't think he ever missed a penalty for Dundee. So that was good for him. That was the game where Liam Craig scored up at the Bobby Cox end, and he ran right down the touchline because he wanted to celebrate in front of the Derry. And I think even to this day, a lot of St Johnstone supporters have got that photo as their screensaver. But we'll move on. The game that Martin had was obviously, as I said, from the same day, the 29th of September 2012. It was Inverness Cally Thistle 4, Dundee United 0. So the dog shit challenge continues, Jack.
Yeah, it does.
There was a crowd of 3,059. The managers that day were Terry Butcher and Peter Houston. Goal scorers, actually we'll do the teams first. So for Inverness, Antonio Riguero, David Raven, Graham Shinney, Gary Warren, Josh Meekins, Ross Draper, Andrew Shinney, Gavin Morrison, Richie Foran, Aaron Doran and Philip Roberts. On the bench, Ryan Essen, George Brislin Hall, Matthew Cooper, Liam Polworth, Connor Pepper, Billy Mackay and Jason Oswell. For United, Radislav Chesniak, Sean Dillon, Gavin Gunnan, Brian McLean, Keith Watson, Willow Flood, Michael Gardine, John Rankin, Richie Ryan, John Daly and Johnny Russell. And on the bench, Steve Banks, Gregory Vignal, Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Gould, Mark Miller, Ryan Dow and Dale Hilson. The scorers 4 and 31, 4 and 35, Andrew Shinney 70 and Robert 73. Jack, what do you reckon?
As with the teams, comparing the teams, United should never have lost that game, never mind 4-0. Armstrong on the bench, Gould on the bench. I don't know if they were injured. Johnny Russell up top, John Daly up top, John Rankin in the middle of the pitch, Wilford in the middle of the pitch. That's a decent enough team. They shouldn't be getting beat from Inverness. Never mind 4-0. Yeah, Inverness have got Blair Mackay there. I actually really rated Josh Meekins when he was at Inverness. I know he didn't have a great career at Dundee afterwards. They had a couple of good players in Inverness, but there's no way that team should have won 4-0. But hey ho.
That was Inverness's purple patch, was it? From about 2012 to 2015, 2016. They obviously got to a cup final, a couple of semi-finals, got to the Scottish Cup final. League Cup final, they got me from Aberdeen. They won the Scottish Cup final, a couple of other semi-finals. But yeah, purple patch for them. What I was thinking is there, when did Gretel, now is the answer, I didn't know that Gregory Vienna played for United.
Yeah, I think he was only there for a year, 6 months. He wasn't there for long. If I remember correctly, I might not be. I might be talking absolute shite, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't there for long at all.
I wonder if the Arab Archive will tell you how many games he actually played.
I think it would. 0 games. Well, there you go.
According to that Arab Archive, he played 0 games in the 2012-13 season. So, there you go. So yeah, the Futbology Challenge not looking great. Everybody stays the same. 6 points for Martin, 4 points for Andrew, and 3 points for Jack. The sweepy has actually increased to £50 now for Jack to win his first game next week. I'm only kidding. So yeah, the Futbology Challenge moves on to game week 10 next week. As I say, as always, I'll always put the scores and the table on screen. Give us a follow on our socials. On Twitter or X, it is at Sandeman ST Pod, and on Instagram at the Sandeman Street Pod. You can also get us on YouTube. If you're listening on that, can you give us a like? Can you subscribe to our channel? And if you're listening on a digital device, can you hype our video, please? That would be much appreciated. Next week we'll be back with a bit of a Scotland special, Jack, with Scotland in World Cup qualifying action. We'll also have the game week 10 of the Futbology Challenge, and as it is the first episode of October, we'll have our monthly top 5. I'm looking forward to that one, Jack. Are you?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Controversial, maybe.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be the most controversial one yet. Obviously, we've eased ourselves in with a couple of ones. The home kits one last time. The one before that was worst games we've ever been to. So this next one could be a wee bit more controversial, I think.
Juicy.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. As I say, give us a follow on our socials. Thanks very much for listening to everyone as always. Take care and have a great weekend. Cheers.